Media Watch. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Chris.
James. We're going to start off in France tonight, local elections this weekend. Of course, two women going head-to-head to become mayor of Paris, and perhaps inevitably and cruelly their style has come under the spotlight.
That's right. Of course, the wardrobe is being inspected, and then, there's this attempt to legitimise that by saying, well, we can detect how consistent they are, to what extent women put more of themselves or of their personality or perhaps of their policies into their clothing. Unlikely. But in any case, so you have articles such as this, which are being criticised quite a lot by other publications, Chris. NKM, that's Nathalie Kosciusko-Morizet, pictured here on the right, and Anne Hidalgo, who is the deputy mayor at the moment, hoping to take over from Bertrand Delanoë, on the left. Le Match des Looks, which I think is pretty easy to translate. Because I don't understand exactly what's going on there. The emancipation by hair style is the headline there. You're getting the idea here. And here, a radically different look, Chris, in leather jacket and hair down. And I think that my favourite sub-headline of all of these is this one. Anne's look is all about consistency and attention to detail. So, of course, we're meant to conclude there that politically she's a consistent person with attention to detail, which is probably completely coincidental if it is the case. And you can see here, Nathalie Kosciusko-Morizet has had a tough campaign. She's been criticised for PR stunts such as this one, where she's photographed smoking a cigarette with homeless people. Hardly something that the quite bourgeois NKM would be doing unless she was on a political campaign. And that led to various parodies. And also, as we're talking about consistency, that's a centre page spread she did for a magazine several years back in sort of nymph mode. Not exactly the NKM we're seeing smoking a cigarette with the homeless of Paris. So all of that's a bit rubbish, really, let's be honest. And it was picked up by Rue 89 that it is a bit rubbish. So what they did to point out how rubbish it is they compared the style of the two mayoral candidates in Marseille. Here you have Jean-Claude Gaudin, a naturally masculine look for Rue 89. Here he is pictured with boxers. And further down, you've got, on the other side of the ring, so to speak, Mr. Minucci, who is bold and audacious in his style. Here he is with his jacket nonchalantly draped over his shoulder.
I think it's time to move on, James, to the other side of the channel, the English channel, where the Conservative Party have created a bit of a storm with beer and bingo.
That's right, a rather failed PR stunt. Now, it was put on Twitter by Grant Shapps, Conservative Party chairman and a minister without portfolio. Now, it's in the run-up to the budget in the UK, so out in the streets there's also a by-election. So he was tweeting lots of different images such as this. And in the middle of all of these different images, you can see here, there was one that was picked up by internet users. Bingo! Cutting the bingo tax and beer duty. Now, there is a 1p cut on the tax on beer, right? And bingo and beer. So this was a rather failed attempt to appeal to the hard-working people. And just to read out the end of that little, what would you call it, advertisement, I suppose, to help hardworking people do more of the things they enjoy. Now, for a lot of publications, such as this Manchester-based paper, it was simply patronising. It was seen as very patronising. And so what you had on Twitter was an awful lot of send-ups of that. We're closing libraries because prolos don't read. What else did we have? There was this one I quite liked it was a quote from Orwell. Beer and above all gambling filled up the horizon of their minds. To keep them in control was not difficult. Then there's this one, tally-ho, cutting the tails off foxes. That's kind of turning it back on the stereotypical people leading or the perceived people, I suppose, at the top. And my favourite is this one. Instead of bingo, you've got that £4 saving that you're going to make if you drink 10 pints a week. That's £4 a year that you'll save. So I think that 1p cut on beer duty isn't exactly going to resolve budgetary issues for people who might be hard up in the UK.
I'll leave you to fulfil that challenge right now, James Creedon. Thank you very much for that edition of Media Watch. We're going to take a very short break now here on Live from Paris, after which I'll be back with all the latest news. Updates, of course, on the Ukraine crisis on the day that Barack Obama imposed another round of sanctions on the Russians. We'll have the latest from Washington with our correspondent there, Philip Crowther.